There's a good chance that you are about to watch this video because you want to improve your serve. Well, I've got 4, yes, count them, 4 powerful tips that are going to give you more clarity on how you can improve your serve, and that's exactly what I want for you.
We got to get that continental grip. A lot of players serve with a forehand grip. We get that continental grip, and call it a shake hands grip. That's going to be very important to develop power on the serve. What's important about the grip as well is we need to hold the racket lower. So what I want you to do is I want you to make sure the pinky is at the end of the racket. Too often players are choked up like this. You lose a lot of power when you're choked up too much. So you have to hold the racket lower. You also have to hold the racket so that the hand is angled. You cannot have what I call a block grip like this. A lot of players hold the racket like this. You've got to spread that index finger and get that trigger finger working so that you can get the hand working. You can get the hand more relaxed on the racket. So those are some big concepts when it comes to the grip that a lot of players don't even think about. They think, oh, I just need my continental grip, but they forget that they need to hold the racket a little lower and make sure that the trigger finger is spread, or the index finger is spread on the racket. Now there's another little subtle tip that I'm going to give you that's going to help you gain more power. And this is assuming that you have a continental grip. If you have a forehand grip, you can ignore this tip. As a continental grip, with a continental grip, I see a lot of players actually that have moved towards the backhand side. So the racket face is open like this when they get ready to serve. I want you to move the racket slightly towards the forehand side a little bit, so it's in that weak continental grip. Now when you go to swing, it's going to be easier to pronate. So instead of focusing on pronation, you can just swing normally, but because you've shifted your grip ever so slightly, the racket is going to go into this position easier. Again, if I have that backhand towards that backhand grip, if I swing like this and try to pronate, look where the racket goes. If I move the racket a little bit more towards the forehand, then I can make the racket go in this position much easier. This is one of the secrets to Pete Sampras's serve. It's something that I experimented with over the years. Now, you may lose spin when you change to this weaker continental grip, but you will gain more power. Okay, one of the common issues that I see with players is they just grip the racket too darn tight. Not only do they grip the racket too tight, but they actually hold the racket too high. Now, I know I'm exaggerating right now, but there are some players that serve in this position right here. So you've got players that are gripping too tight. You've got players that are holding the hand too high up on the racket. And then you have players using what's called the block, what I call the block grip, where there's no space between the fingers and the knuckles are in a line like this. It's like the hand is like one big block, and you're not going to have any feel if you do that. So the suggestion that I have is, number 1, to move the hand down the racket. But number 2, spread the index finger out more so that the hand is more angled on the racket. Now the tip I want to give you today is called the 3-finger tip. Very simple. You're going to lower this hand here in this position, and you'll notice that the heel of the hand is off of the racket. So what I want you to do is just slide the pinky off of the racket and start to swing the racket. And just notice what you feel when you do that. You should feel more relaxation. You should feel like the arm and the racket just moves in an easier fashion. Now, I want you to go even more extreme and remove the ring finger off of the racket. So now you have essentially 3 fingers. You have the thumb, we're going to count as a finger here. You have the index finger and the middle finger and the thumb holding onto the racket. And it should feel very effortless, and the racket, you just move in a continuous motion. The racket should just drop naturally behind the back. We're not focusing on scratching the back here. The racket just drops because there's no tension. So this should give you a clue that if you're having a hard time dropping the racket behind you, if you're having a hard time getting power, there's a really good chance that when you go to serve, you're gripping so tight that the racket can only get to about here. But notice what happens when I go to the 3-finger tip here. Notice how the racket naturally drops. Notice what happens when I grip tight. Notice when I relax like this. So you can practice that. You can practice doing your swings every day, and it's going to give you that awareness that you need to realize that playing tennis is not about gripping the racket too tight. So I'm going to show you what I would do if I were you, if I was gripping the racket too tight and not getting the power that I wanted. I'd grab a couple of balls, and before even tossing the ball, I would just swing the racket using the 3-finger tip right here, okay? So I essentially have, again, the last 2 fingers, the pinky finger and the ring finger off the racket. If that feels a little too loosey-goosey, you can always go with having the pinky finger off of the racket. Now, you're not going to hit the ball doing this, although you can do it with the pinky off. I wouldn't recommend with the ring finger off as well. But with the pinky off, you can practice it, and you just want to feel, it's not going to be your normal serve, but you just want to feel that relaxation. And this is tough for many players because it involves giving up control. See, control is going to show up when you grip the racket too tight. You have fear, you have control, you just want to get the serve in. Giving up control and letting it go means actually holding the racket lower and looser. I want to talk about the first move. When I get into this serve position here, so many players open the racket face like this when they start to take the racket up. Or they move with the arms like this. But one of the keys to developing natural power is to feel like the shoulders turn first. Just picture Roger Federer. This little move right here is Roger Federer, Pete Sampras. They don't move with the arms first. This is a common problem. So now you're actually working against your body. You're only moving the arms. We want the hips and the shoulders to move together in the beginning. As you're bringing the racket up, you want to make sure the palm stays down. Okay, this is very important. We don't want the racket face to open like this. You're going to lose power. You're going to end up pushing the serve more when you open that racket face too early. So it's a slow gathering where the palm stays down longer, and that will help you get to that amazing trophy position. In this video today, I want to show you the 90-degree angle tip. But first, I have to reveal the problem. What's happening is when players get to the trophy position, a lot of times when you look at their forearm compared to their upper arm, this is the angle of their arm when they're serving. And so it's greater than a 90-degree angle, all right? This is the position that I see. And then players try to serve from here with their hand disconnected from their body. It's too far away from their head and from their body. And so if you try to swing from here, it's very difficult to drop the racket if your upper arm and your lower arm create this angle right here. You can't really drop the racket. You're going to feel pinching in the back of the shoulder. So that's a common problem that players have. Next time, videotape your serve from the side and see if your hand is in this position, if your arm is in this position before you drop the racket. Now, there are other players that actually find this position, but then they drop the racket way in like this, and they create this angle between their lower arm and their upper arm. You see that right there. Now, I see more of this than I see this. I see players pretty far away from their head with their hand in relation to their head. So what we want to do is we want to create that 90-degree angle. So the 90-degree angle is the angle between the upper arm and the lower arm. It's as simple as that. Find this slot, find this angle, and you can start serving bigger. Remember, if your arm is out here, and by the way, I had this problem early in my pro career, and I had a lot of arm problems. So if you have shoulder pain or arm pain, you're probably too far away, like this. You're trying to serve from here, and there's a pinching back there when I do that. A lot of stress on the arm. So we've got to practice getting the hand closer to the head and getting this 90-degree angle. And here's the other key. Once you're here, you don't want to drop the hand in like this before you go to serve. You've got to maintain that 90-degree angle. Now, it may get a little bit less than 90 degrees, but it's in the ballpark, okay? So you want to be in this position, and you want to drop the racket, lead with the elbow, when you get that awesome racket drop, and that's the 90-degree angle that we're talking about. Again, shoot videos of your serve from the side and see if you're creating that angle. There's a good chance you're not. How do I know that? Because I've worked with so many players and I've seen this problem over and over again. And it actually stems from the beginning of the serve. Many players start their serve like this and they cannot find that 90-degree angle. They have a straight arm, they get the hand to here, and then they try to serve from here, and that is not going to give you the power and the efficiency and the injury prevention that you're looking for. So how do we solve this? I like to put people in what I call the half serve. So basically, you're in this position right here, and I form a 90-degree angle. It's like, again, it's like throwing a ball. You find that 90-degree angle between the lower arm and the upper arm. And then when I toss the ball, I turn like this. Now, it's one thing to set the 90-degree angle. It's another thing to maintain it. So you've got to maintain that angle. When you turn your shoulders, you have to maintain the 90-degree angle. So I'm going to get into a half serve. My arm is bent at a 90-degree angle, okay? And I just maintain that angle. So I'm here. Again, a lot of players, I'm going to help them get in this position, but then instead of just turning their shoulders and maintaining this angle, they're going to go back with their hand like this. And so that's a habit that you want to change.
If you just focus on one of the serve tips that I gave you, I know that you can improve your serve. And that's what we want here at Tennis Evolution. We want you to improve. Now, before you go, I want you to take the next step on your tennis journey. You can click the link in the description below or somewhere in this video to access a free membership to Tennis Evolution. That's right, a free membership, no strings attached. All you have to do is click the link in the description below or somewhere in this video to get 21 lessons covering all aspects of your tennis. We'll see you on the inside. Click the link in the description below or somewhere in this video. Thanks.